Okay, let's move on and let me now welcome on board Pallab Banerjee, the MD at Pearl Global, joining in on the show right now to talk about his takeaways in the trade policy. Pallab, great to have you today on the show. Just trying to understand how the new India-US tariff agreement impacts you, your order book momentum, vis-a-vis compared to your duty-free operations in Bangladesh.
So we at Pearl, we manufacture both in India as well as Bangladesh. So I think both ways we are benefiting. If I have to speak about that, India definitely it is becoming more manufacturing friendly. I think India as an economy was much more domestic driven earlier, and with all the trade deals that we have had of late and the FTAs, along with that the other policies that we are seeing with the Indian government, I'm sure the manufacturing and the export is going to get a further uplift. And definitely that's one thing that we are seeing in each of our customers from all the region. They are very much positive and getting more and more interested in India. So the queries and the kind of business that we are seeing that is flowing into India is definitely in the upward momentum. The Bangladesh thing that happened last night, that I think is an incremental benefit to Bangladesh. Bangladesh is anyway a very strong market for the apparel manufacturing and exporting. It had a lot of upper hand and advantages earlier. So this is another incremental advantage that they're getting. The particular duty-free option that they're talking about on U.S. raw material, that has to be understood more, because if 70% of the cost has to be on U.S. material, raw material, then there will be very limited amount of garments would be included in that.
Okay, joining us also is Rajinder Gupta, Chairman Emeritus at Trident Group. Now, Rajinder, let me come to you. Give us a sense of the impact on Trident very quickly.
Well, first of all, as we all know, we are not into garmenting. The garmenting sector has got some advantage to Bangladesh, but the home textile, I think we are very well off, although we got from 50% back to 18%. I think it might get notified soon. But I'm sure the free trade agreement with Europe and with UK and even with New Zealand, Australia is going to help us a new dimension in the market. The domestic market is also growing. So as per Trident is concerned, because we are not into the garmenting, so possibly I will not able to comment much on that.
Okay. Pallab, let me come back to you. And this is with regard to one of the clauses there, where US has completely exempted all imports from Bangladesh on the textile front, as long as it's cotton sourced from the US. Now, talk to us about your facilities in Bangladesh, right? Are they largely sourcing cotton from India, or are they sourcing cotton from all over the world and they are agnostic as to where the cotton comes from? First, give us a sense of that.
So the spinning industry in Bangladesh is limited. So mostly we and some other players of Bangladesh would be importing the yarn, cotton yarn from India or other countries into Bangladesh and then converting into textiles. And that textile would be converted into garments and finally exported out. So that is the supply chain. Import of cotton and then spinning into yarn, yes, that industry exists there, but that's still not price competitive. And speaking of the U.S., this clause that you are speaking about, that one means that you have to import the cotton from U.S., spin it into a yarn, and then make the textile, and finally making the garment. And if that garment is shipped out to U.S., then it's completely the reciprocal tariff is exempted. So that's the benefit that Bangladesh would be getting. Currently, that proportion of business is small, maybe about 10-12%. But now that this clause is there, so we will see some kind of momentum both from the vendor side and the manufacturing side as well as from the buyer's end.
How much of a loss is it to India, Pallab, in your opinion? Is this big for Indian cotton exporters?
It will depend on how much the needle moves. See, 19% is their new tariff. that Bangladesh would be having, the what you call reciprocal tariff. And my understanding so far is that only that portion will be waived off if the raw material is coming from US. The cotton movement is cotton is bulky, so naturally there will be a transportation cost and all that will get included. As of now, the industry exists by importing yarns from India or China or other sources like which are nearby. So that's something we have to see. As I mentioned, like the market for U.S. cotton was limited in Bangladesh. Now, when this tariff discussion started with Trump administration, Bangladesh government has been really pushing for it, that if we can take the cotton from U.S. and then ship it back to U.S. in form of garments, then it should be tariff-free. So I think they have got a success on that. This is something in a more like an unexplored territory as of yet. So we have to see like how that pans out. I don't see it will be a big dent, but there will be incremental benefit to Bangladesh for sure.
Pallab, sorry, I'm trying to get a sense and I'm trying to get a grip of whether this is bad from an Indian cotton manufacturer standpoint and from an India standpoint.
At this point of time, I would say it's a competition that was not existing. Suddenly, this competition is coming up. Like how much of market share would be possible will depend on the other part of that clause, which says what percentage of the value of the garment should be from U.S. cotton. So if it is high as 70%, then this will not be a big change as per me. There will be some incremental change, but not a very big one. But if that percentage comes down, let's say if that is becoming 40% requirement or 30% requirement of a garment, that means the apparel that Bangladesh is exporting to U.S., let's say 40% of the cost or 30% of the cost is from the U.S. cotton, then it will be a very significant loss to India. But I think as of now, my information says that that's not the case.
Okay. Thank you so much, Pallab, for coming in at short notice and giving us that perspective. Clearly, and Rajinder as well, thank you so much, both of you, for coming in and giving us that perspective. At the moment, at the outset, it clearly looks negative from an India standpoint, because what he said is competition will likely go up regardless. Of course, how much of that market share gets ceded, etc., is still up for grabs. But evidently, there is going to be a higher amount of competition, which could lead to, or which is an adverse for Indian cotton manufacturers.
And that's what the stock prices also are reflecting.
Correct.
Most of them now headed in for that 10% decline. We'll take a very quick break on that note. Come right back, continue tracking markets on the other side.